Welcome to Punky's World. I don't know where to begin. I keep thinking I'll wake up from this nightmare, but it's not a nightmare. That's what it feels like. Last night, well, let's go back before that. I organized a bunch of CDs into that CD case that I found that I talked about in yesterday's video. And I mentioned in the video that I was going to send my extra copy of the Christopher Daniels shoot interview that I accidentally bought twice to Doug. So last night, after I mailed it out, I called and asked his mom to tell him that it was going to be there Friday. She started to cry. She said, "He'll never get it." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "He died." What? And that's exactly what I said. What? And apparently, on the 5th, he wasn't getting up and he wasn't responding. So Mr. Urbanowski went to check on him and found him dead in his bed. So I guess they had the calling hours yesterday. No, not yesterday, the day before. I didn't know. Nobody told me. I was only his best friend for 35 years. His only friend for a long time. And I asked her, "Are you having some kind of service for him at your hall?" Because they're Jehovah's Witnesses. And they call it a Kingdom Hall. They don't call it a church. And she said no. I read the online obituary because there's no obituary in the newspaper. And it said that they were on the 22nd. So I called her back and I asked her, I said, "I understand that it's in the hall, but is it okay if I come to his celebration of life?" She said no. It's private and it's witnesses only. Okay. Don't know what he died from because they declined an autopsy. The coroner told them he felt that it was natural, whatever it was. And he didn't think it was a heart attack because his eyes were closed and he was comfortable, like sleeping. And she said to me, she said he kept harping on the fact, or in her words, obsessing over the fact that his eyes were closed. She said, I had to ask him why that was a big deal. And he said, because when people pass, their eyes are usually open. And I said, Yes, because you have no control over those muscles, so your eyes and your mouth are open. And the medical examiner couldn't understand why his eyes were closed. She said he just had a physical, blood work, everything, and everything was fine. But they knew Doug, and I knew Doug. If Doug had a complaint, he wouldn't have said anything. I remember one time, just looking at the clock, sorry. Doug had a severely infected ingrown toenail in his big toe. I am the one that told his parents. And he would go to the podiatrist several times to have it removed. He had other things that I told his parents. If he had a lump or a pain somewhere, he wasn't going to say anything. He could have had cancer, and they never would have known it because he wouldn't have said anything. And if it was something that wouldn't show up as strange in his blood work, then they wouldn't have known, because he was very private even from them, especially with his mother dealing with a terminal diagnosis herself. He's never going to say anything. His father said he was on the computer at 9:30 because they could see the log in and log out, I'm not sure how, but he logged in at 9:30. His father's an engineer, so he knows how to find all that stuff. I'm not sure how. Well, unless you look at the web history, I guess you could see. And that must have been what he did, because he knew that he was looking at statistics, and he was looking at, there was a game delay. I don't know if it was the Celtics or pregame for baseball. I don't know. And he had made notes about it at the time, if I could talk. And he logged off and went to bed. And even his mother said he wouldn't take a pill for a headache, an aspirin. I said, you're right. I said, Doug, if he had a really bad headache, would take his Excedrin. That was it. And it is possible that he had an aneurysm, because it's possible that, like I said, he never said anything, that he had an incredible headache, took his Excedrin, laid down, went to sleep, and died. Because the coroner, like I said, does not believe it was a heart attack, because he believes you would see that there was some sign of distress, which is odd, but The fact that his eyes were closed makes me think that he fell into a coma before he died. And that's why his body was so relaxed. Which would, again, go with an aneurysm in his brain. Or Mrs. Yu kept saying maybe he had an air bubble in his lung that went to his heart and killed him instantly. Why would you get an air bubble in a vein or artery? A blood clot, sure. But an air bubble? That only happens if you have an IV. There's no other way to introduce air into a blood vessel. I still think the possibility of cancer. He lost a lot of weight, which he was trying to lose weight, but I can't imagine what his parents are feeling. No parent should have to bury their child. I can't imagine what his brothers are feeling. Especially Dennis. He just lost his wife 2 months ago. 3 months ago. Not even. On December 30th, he just lost his wife. So I can't imagine. I know what I'm going through. And it just feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from. And I can't even go and say goodbye. So my friend said, why don't you have your own little celebration for him? And I said, you know what? I can do the thing we loved. On Saturday, I could pop in a wrestling DVD, eat pizza, a sweet snack, a dessert with soda, and watch wrestling with Doug. So I ordered a stuffed crust pizza from Walmart, a piece of the bakery cake from Walmart. I already have soda, and that's what I'm going to do Saturday. The last time I grieved like this was when my parents died. when my mother died, because my father died before my mother. I'm just devastated. So I don't know what we're doing today because my brain is not functioning. I have a dentist appointment. It just sucks. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Please subscribe.